Okay, today is about the quadratic formula. So when we started the hour, we did a practice of factoring, and the top one factored, but the bottom one didn't. And so when something doesn't factor, you got to know it's A, which there's a number here, it's a 1, it's B, and it's C, and then you got to know this thing called the quadratic formula. Here's some base information that you can look at later if you want to, and here is the big old quadratic formula. I suggested that you learn it as a song. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Because songs stick in your head, and that's the way that almost all the kids in this area have memorized this formula. Because it's big and scary, and you do have to have it memorized. All right. Then on this problem, do you see that that's A, that's B, and that's C? And I'm going to show you how you would actually pull this off. This B right here needs to be this number. You got to stop that now. I can't concentrate with you singing. So that 3 goes here. And there's, where else is there a B? Look, do you see it? Right there. In there, I put a 3. Is there any more B's? Nope, I'm done. What else do I got to stick in? The A. What's the A? Here's 2. So I'm going to go in here where the A is, and I'm going to put a 2. And at the bottom, there's also a 2. And then there's only one place you put the C. At the very end. And the end is this negative 4 here. There's a negative 4 that goes right there, though, because of that. All right, now I'm going to actually clean this all up. Now I'm going to extend my page a little bit so that I have room to write. I'm going to put negative 3 plus and minus. What does that mean? That means you have 2 answers. One where you do the problem with a plus, and one where you do the problem with a minus. The square root of 3 squared, which is 9, minus 4 times 2 times negative 4. Do you see there's 2 negatives in there? My prediction is some of you guys are going to fail this test because of one simple thing, and that's that you can't handle this inside part. Sad but true. I'm just trying to, of course, by telling you that, I'm trying to make sure you're not the kid who does that. Some people are going to fail this test just because of that part, because they can't handle looking at that negative 4, 2 and negative 4, and they don't know how to handle. Is it minus? Is it plus? It's got 2 minuses, so I don't know what to do. So let me help you. If it's got only 1 minus total, then you are subtracting. If it's got 2 minuses, 2 negatives, then you're actually going to be adding. If you have 3 minuses, if all 3 of them were negative, then you're subtracting or you're adding? If there's 3 negatives, then you're subtracting. Do you get if there's an odd number of negatives, then you're subtracting? But if there's an even number of negatives, then you're adding. What do we have in this case? How many negatives? How many negatives are there? There's 2 negatives in there. There's a negative right here, and there's a negative right there. So if there's 2 negatives, that makes this a plus. It's a positive. Okay? So now I am adding the next number. I'm telling you, that spot underneath the square root is where everybody's going to screw up. Okay, not everybody. Everybody that does screw up usually screws up right there. Okay, next, it's 4 times 2 times 4. 4 times 2 is 8 times 4 is 32. All over 2a, which is 2 times 2 is 4. And then you just have to simplify it down. Okay, now this one in particular is rough because 9 plus 32 equals 41, and nobody in here would be able to tell me what the square root of 41 is. Okay, so I would just allow you, the good part is, I'd allow you to leave your answer just like that. That is the answer. It's x equals all that. And I just let you say square root of 41. But what if it had been the square root of 36? Then that would be 6. What if it had been the square root of 144? 12. What about the square root of 81? 9. Good. What about the square root of 4? 2. Get the idea? If it works out nice, then you do it. If it doesn't work out, like square root of 41, then you can just leave it. And this is your answer, just this whole thing. All right, so now let's look at this thing called the discriminant. That little part that's circled, you see that part? And it says discriminant on there? That part underneath the root, just the b squared minus 4ac, that's the most important part of the quadratic formula. In fact, today, the cool part is, not till we're done. The cool part is that that is all you're going to have to do for today, b squared minus 4ac. So back to, on that big honking formula, I do not need you to have it memorized tomorrow, but the b squared minus 4ac part is the part we're going to use like 23 times today. All you're going to have to do is figure out what that comes up to, just the b squared minus 4ac part. Because if it comes up positive, bigger than 0, then it's a sign that we're going to have two answers. Why would we have two answers? Because you're going to do plus that number and minus that number. That's why you have two answers. If the discriminant, if this number comes up to a 0, then you're going to only have one solution. Because why? Because when you add 0 or subtract 0, you get the same exact thing. So doing the big old formula becomes easier because you're just adding or subtracting 0. That's why there's only one solution. So if it comes out to 0, you get one solution. And if it comes out less than 0, then there aren't any solutions. All right. Sometimes I look and I think, why is it that I have to repeat things like 5 times? And part of it is because right now, you're daydreaming, you're giving yourself a tattoo, you haven't written anything down for the last 3 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. All right, so my point is, I'm trying to say you won't, you did write down the formula, that's good, okay? But this thing that I just said right here, that isn't like written anywhere. You might want to write that one down. That if it's bigger than 0, you get 2 answers. Equal to 0, you get 1 answer. And less than 0, you get no answers. That's the thing you're going to need to remember for the test. Now, you remember only 10% of what anybody ever tells you. So me telling you that means you're not going to remember it. You're going to forget 90% of what I just said. But you remember much higher percentage, I don't want to make up a number, of what you write down. If you write it down, you will increase the chances you will actually remember this. All right, so b squared minus 4ac is the key part for today. Just b squared minus 4ac. You're going to write that down and do that like 10 times for your homework. And then you're going to get a number. What if the number's big? Then you have 2 solutions. What if the number's negative? Then you won't have any solutions. And what if the number is 0? You have 1 solution. It says so right here. If the number is 0 that comes out, you're going to get 1 solution. All right. So now, here is a typical question. 2x squared plus 10x plus 5. So right off the bat, you need to know A, B, and C. But we're not going to make you do that huge formula. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You don't have to memorize that yet. But which part did I say was important? B squared minus 4ac. That part. B squared minus 4ac is the important part. So, well, what's B? And what's A? And what's C? You're going to have to, like, not be touching that thing, otherwise I'm going to take it away. That's A. That's B. That's C. Okay? So now, I want you to stick in the right numbers here. I like to have a skeleton formula. Remember doing that earlier this year where we write in empty parentheses and then you drop things in the parentheses? I know some of you guys think that you're too cool for the parentheses, but it's so helpful. It really is. Even in high-level math, I have people write those parentheses down because especially when you get negatives, it can really screw things up. Yes? Sure, no problem. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back. So I'm going to stick in b squared minus 4ac. What is b? What is b? What's b? It's 10. What's b squared then? 10 squared, which is what? 10 times 10, which is not 20. It's 100. Okay, good. Minus 4ac. 4 times, like I said before, this part right here is where a lot of people mess up. So 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is 5. Now, people get confused when there's more than one negative, especially. There's only one negative. People usually know I'm supposed to subtract that. So 100 minus, can you do math in your head? What's 4 times 2? What's 4 times 2? No, it's not. What's 4 times 2? 8 times 5. 8 times 5. 40, and then it is negative, but I already have a negative on there. There we go. And now finish the deal. We're down to just a subtract problem. 60. Now I ask you, is that bigger than 0, equal to 0, or less than 0? It's bigger than 0, and if you had taken notes on what bigger than 0 meant, I wouldn't have to refer back to this other page. Bigger than 0, 2 solutions. And that's how you finish your answers. You don't just say 60. You say, therefore, and did you know a triangle made of dots is the sign for therefore? It's a lot faster than writing out the word therefore, isn't it? Therefore, 2 solutions, and the great abbreviation is SOLN. That's what all math teachers use instead of SOLUTIONS. You say SOLN. 2 solns, short for solutions. All right, let's do one more. So which part of the equation do we really care about?
B squared minus 4ac.
All right, nice job. B squared minus 4ac. And over to a, but we don't need that part, right? So we just need this part. Then, everybody, make the, what I call skeleton formula, and drop in the right numbers, and then see if you can finish this one. Then, once it's done, let's say it comes out to 0. You got to say, therefore, no solutions, or therefore, 1 solution. All right, so right now, copy down exactly what you see on the screen. And when you're smart enough, fill in the empty parentheses, and then see if you can simplify it down to an answer. The answer is like 23. Okay? You figure out what the number is. I'll pause while you try that. All right, so you should have dropped in B. Did you know that B was negative 5? There's usually a few people that don't notice that and just think it's 5. It's negative 5. But you know what? When you square it, it doesn't really matter. Because negative 5 squared, either way, it's positive 25. Again, squaring people sometimes confused with timesing by 2. It's not times by 2. It's times by itself. And then the A was 3. And the C was 10. And then, what is 4 times 3 times 10? I can do it in my head because 4 times 3 is 12. That's easy.
That's 30.
No. 4 times 3 is 12. Well, yeah, we can do that later. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 10 is easy, see? 120. I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's 120. And then, and then it's negative
105.
false.
No, 195.
No, false, not.
Negative 95.
It is not any of those. Oh, I think you just said it. Negative 95 is correct. No, you didn't. You said 195 by accident. No, that's what you said. Maybe you meant negative 95, but I got it on the video. It's just you have to listen really, really, really close. So, all right. So that one, is it, hey, focus. Is that answer that we just got, is it positive, negative, or 0? It's one of those 3. It's negative. And then if you look on your little list, which you're smart enough to have on the paper, it says no solutions. Therefore, see how fast that is? Dot, dot, dot. No, and am I going to write the whole word solution out? S-O-L-N. Thank you very much. S-O-N means sun. That means no sun. And that's really sad because if we don't have any sun, we're all going to die. All right. Anyway, I am not going to ask you to do another one because I think by now you've got the idea. It's b squared minus 4ac. You stick the numbers in and you get the answer. And if the answer is positive, you read off your little notes and say, oh, positive, 2 solutions. If it's negative, no solutions. And if it's 0, 1 solution. Okay, that's all I got for you for today.